Mark Twain had a great quote. He said, when there's a gold rush on, it's a good time to be in the pick and shovel business.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening right now with the cannabis industry, particularly given that cannabis is still federally illegal.
On a quest for the American dream.
Let's make a dope deal.
An epic vision.
Hey, well, let's light it up, man.
Can you invest in the paraphernalia which pot smokers use? Can you invest in the growing equipment that pot people use? Can you?
Absolutely.
Are there companies, publicly traded companies, that I can put money directly into? Are there?
Sort of. I mean, the public companies in this space are pink sheet companies that are largely, non-reporting companies. So it's kind of a dicey proposition there.
Laura Duffy is the U.S. Attorney for California's Southern District. She says things have veered wildly from the original intent of California's medical marijuana law.
This industry is becoming more along the lines of drug trafficking in large part than it is about providing medicine to the sick.
Duffy says a core mission of the Department of Justice is to go after drug traffickers. She says the government will not pursue truly sick patients who grow marijuana in their homes. But she says California's storefront pot shops are a clear violation of state law, and she says most don't actually fit the definition of a collective.
Dispensaries, they're often called. They're marijuana stores that are open storefronts. People can come in. They can receive marijuana in exchange for, you call it a donation, a payment, whatever you want to call it. That's something different than a collective. And those marijuana stores are not authorized under state law.
Duffy says her office will continue to send out letters like this one to dispensaries that she believes violate state law. The San Diego medical marijuana industry is in upheaval after the federal government announced a crackdown on California collectives like this one. Now patients face an uncertain future.
This afternoon, Governor Gregoire vetoed part of a bill that would have overhauled the state's medical marijuana laws and allowed for dispensaries. The partial veto comes just one day after federal agents raided at least 4 dispensaries around Spokane. The governor says she will not allow state workers to license marijuana dispensaries because possessing or selling marijuana is a violation of federal law. KXLY4's Sally Showman is live tonight at one of the dispensaries that was hit yesterday.
Yeah, Robin, the owner of THC Pharmacy in the Perry District has rethought things today. Yesterday, right after the raid, he told me he planned to reopen today and sell marijuana. He wanted to take a stand, but now, just 12 hours later, he says he's closing permanently.
THC Pharmacy.
One call at a time.
No, we're not stocking the store.
Cassandra Wright is informing patients THC Pharmacy is no longer selling medical marijuana.
Today, I'm in the process of shutting everything down. We don't dare reopen.
Last night, we spoke with the store's owner, Charles Wright.
THC Pharmacy will be open and in full operation tomorrow.
Today, a much different message.
Effective immediately, THC Pharmacy is shutting down permanently, and I recommend that all dispensaries and pharmacies in Washington state follow suit immediately.
Yesterday, agents raided THC Pharmacy, confiscating all their marijuana and cash. But it wasn't the raid that scared Wright into closing. It was a conversation, he says, his attorney had with U.S. Attorney Michael Ormsby this morning.
I am being threatened with 20 years to life, and I have no further political power to do anything. If I open the doors today, they will put me in prison tomorrow.
Let's move on to medical marijuana dispensaries in California. They could, some of them at least, could be forced to shut their doors for good if the federal government has its way. We're joined now by the owner of the Marin Alliance Medical Marijuana Dispensary. That is Lynette Shaw. Lynette, thanks very much for joining us. Great to have you with us today.
Well, thank you, Stuart. I'm honored to be on your program.
Okay, now look, there's a bit of a delay here between you speaking and me speaking, so I'll keep the question short and to the point. They're not threatening to shut down your dispensary, are they? Because I think they're only going after the big operators, millions of dollars of business, right?
Unfortunately, my dispensary has been targeted as on top of the list. We're the longest standing licensed dispensary in the nation. And I've been here legal for 15 years, and for some reason our modest charity seems to have been taken the forefront and the center of this whole thing, and I don't understand why.
No, now, look, you're a non-profit, as I understand it, and you're not exactly a huge dispensary. You're not moving tons of weed a year by any means.
Oh, no.
Why do you think, you paid taxes, I believe, so why have you been, cracked down on? Why?
Well, I'm not sure what's happened to the Obama administration, but they've definitely turned their back on the medical marijuana movement. We have a lot of critically ill people. We have enormous rate of breast cancer here in Marin County. There's cancer, there's AIDS, hepatitis C, there's terrible diseases, and medical marijuana is very, very helpful. The kind of relief you cannot get with some kind of a pill. And we've had a stabilization of our medical patients and acceptance into the community. We have a regulated and really acceptable and discreet system that has worked, and we've been good citizens. We've paid our taxes. We've filed everything. We pay all our fees. We charge sales tax. What's wrong?
Here's what I don't understand. I would have thought that President Obama would have been on the side of legalizing marijuana. I'm not saying that pejoratively, but I thought that the left generally was in favor of this kind of cause. So that surprises me that it is the Obama administration which is doing this.
Serious issue. He made a joke out of it. I mean, there are a lot of questions about legalization of marijuana, not as a job creation program, but just as a serious policy issue. And with what's happening in Mexico now,
he opposes the legals. I'll do this for the president. I didn't. I neither emailed my question in nor voted for it, but the president opposes the legalization of marijuana, and I'll say I did that without even the slightest bit of laughter.
When President Obama was on the campaign trail, he promised not to use federal law enforcement resources to circumvent state medical cannabis laws, and shortly after taking office, made that official Department of Justice policy. Unfortunately, in the past year, they have reversed that policy, and they are now going to try and close down places like Harborside.
California law says that there's a medical reason that people use marijuana. Federal law says that marijuana is illegal at all times for all purposes. That's the conflict. Federal law, as any first-year law student knows, is supreme over state law. Anybody that owns a commercial marijuana store in California could be the subject of a federal search warrant at any moment.
They're not threatening to shut down your dispensary, are they? Because I think they're only going after the big operators, millions of dollars of business, right?
This industry is becoming more along the lines of drug trafficking in large part than it is about providing medicine to the sick. Dispensaries, they're often called. They're marijuana stores that are open storefronts. People can come in, they can receive marijuana in exchange for, you call it a donation, a payment, whatever you want to call it. That's something different than a collector. And those marijuana stores are not authorized under state law.
But the president opposes the legalization of marijuana, and I'll say I did that without even the slightest bit of laughter.